Hey, this is Rabbi Shmuel Pollan. It's the quarantine 2020 at 6 Rebecca Lane. That's where I am. And Amazon.com is still open for business. So you should get All In For God at allinforgod.com. Allinforgod.com. It's a great thing to read when you're in quarantine and there's nothing else to do but read. So read and enjoy the book. It's going to teach you about your purpose in life, which is, as we're going to talk about, is a huge thing to think about while you're in quarantine. And the first thing I want to say about the quarantine is that it will end. Don't feel like it's permanent. Just like every other virus came and passed, this virus will come and pass. May it end very, very soon. In the meantime, everybody's asking, what are we to do? What is going on? What is the purpose of this quarantine? I'm just sitting at home on my couch. How should I think about it? So my theory, which came to me, and I want to share it with you, which I think is the most productive theory, is that we should think of this situation like a huddle, because we are all completely connected by the internet. God gave the healing before the disease. He gave the internet to us so we could all connect, even though we are separate. But in a huddle, everyone's connected by their arms, not letting any enemy player, not any an opposing player, come into the huddle. They're just very tightly held together. So that's what we are. We're all very tightly held together, and we're not letting any coronavirus come through us. We're all doing this together. And what's happening is they are building up energy. They're building up energy, and there's a pep talk, like just like I'm giving you a pep talk right now about it. And they all huddle together, build up the energy. Boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, win. And they're going out to win. They explode onto the court because of what they have just been through. And that's what we should be doing with this quarantine. We should be getting ready to explode onto the world and take over the world for goodness. Let goodness take over the world. Let self-sacrifice take over the world. Let being a hero to other people take over the world. Now, you've got to plan for that. You've got to have a plan, and you should be planning on your Google Doc, on a piece of paper. What am I going to do to make the world a better place? And this, again, will teach you exactly how to do it in All In For God. But in short, you're just going to make the idea of lights into vessels. You take good ideas and you find vessels for them, find receptacles, find things that can actually allow you to apply that idea to the physical world. So take the opportunity to have these thoughts of planning and huddling and building up energy, building up your excitement for when you're going to get out, because before you explode onto the scene, you have to connect. You have to come in really, really close. You have to come close into your home to huddle, to make things go crazy when you get out. And also take the opportunity to think higher thoughts. Don't just think about what you're going to do with your business. Think higher thoughts. First of all, read, and read like crazy. Amazon still works. So read so much that you're going to walk out a different person, a person who can speak Spanish or Russian or knows exactly how to start his business. But more so, what is the purpose of running around this world for 70 to 80 years and not knowing your purpose in life? You've got to know your purpose. What is your meaning in life? And we can look to millionaires and billionaires and what they say. They always say, ultimately, they say something like give or contribute to the world, to give to somebody else. And that's really the truth, because everybody else who's not a millionaire thinks they'll be happy and that their meaning in life is to become a millionaire. But what happens is they're miserable all the way until the time when they become a millionaire because they haven't reached their goal yet. Then they reach their goal and they're happy for a few seconds, and then they get used to it. And then they go on to the next goal, which will not make them happy. It will only last for a few seconds. Or they just, at that point, realize, if they're smart, that that's not what's going to make them happy. Making another million is not going to make them happy. Making another billion is not going to make them happy. And people with the billionaires are just completely not the happiest people in the world. They're just fighting with each other, clawing to be number one, Does he have 54 billion? He has 53 billion. He has 56 billion. I mean, they're miserable. And Steve Jobs, for his part, I mean, God bless his soul, but I saw a video of how he interacted with someone who's also a very, well-respected millionaire, but he's a billionaire, and he just cursed him out like crazy. He just cursed him out for no reason. These people are not happy. So the solution is to give to others, to have self-sacrifice for others, to bring light where there's darkness. If somebody's behind, how can you lift them up? And that could be your spouse, it could be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. But every millionaire and billionaire says something like bringing the light where there's darkness, giving, contributing, making something wonderful when it wasn't wonderful before, specifically making it wonderful for other people. So think, who in your practice, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, an accountant, what can you do to make your practice more giving? How much more value can you give to your customers? And that's what you should be huddling about, planning about, and be ready to explode onto the scene with your newfound ideas as soon as this quarantine is over. Who can you pull up that's falling a little bit behind? Be ready to conquer the world with goodness. This is just a huddle. Another thing that you learn is how to do less with more. I go to a gym. I have a personal trainer, but I can't do that now. The gym is closed. So I figured out how to do bicep curls and shoulder curls and do ab exercises with textbooks. I use books to hold them and do the exercise with them. So I learned how to do more with less. So now, if ever my gym is closed again, I will know how to work out without the gym. The other thing that this quarantine is going to do is increased gratitude. How good is it going to feel to go to Macy's and have that door actually open and be able to go and browse all the clothing there? How good is it going to feel to date again, go out with a girl or a boy and hold each other and to be able to touch each other? How good is it going to feel to see the street bustling with people? What's it going to be like to see Times Square again bustling with people? It's all going to be glorious. The other thing that it does is it gives you quality time with family. This is so obvious, but we don't take advantage of it. Don't just watch TV. Spend quality time with your kids. I was just watching a TED Talk about a lawyer for fathers in divorce, and the fathers often can't answer the questions from the judge of what's your kid's best friend, what's their report card, what's bothering them in school. You should know that stuff. What's their birthday? Sit with them and ask them questions and really connect with your kids, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, and connect in ways that you never have been able to connect before, because there's nothing else to do. Don't watch TV. If you don't watch TV, you'll realize that there's nothing else to do but talk to your family. Talk to them, and you will have a chance to talk to them that you may never get again in your entire life. This is a golden opportunity that God is giving you once in your life to really connect with other people, to really connect with your family, the most important people to you. And it's really a golden opportunity. I'll say a little bit of a word about serving God with a story of two Hasidic Jews that were in a Russian prison, and the guard put a pail in the middle of the room to be used for them to do their business, and quickly a foul stench filled the prison cell. And this caused one of the Hasidic Jews to cry. He's crying and crying, and the other Hasidic Jew said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I'm crying because I can't pray. The law is, in Jewish law, you cannot pray when there's a foul stench." So he said, "What's the problem with that?" He's like, "What do you mean, what's the problem with that? If I can't pray, tefillah. Prayer is tefillah, which means to attach. It's my attachment to God. It's my connection to God. How can I not pray?" And he says, "That's ridiculous. Let me tell you something. When you were on the outside, God's will was that you pray. And now that you're on the inside, God's will is that you don't pray. And you're equally fulfilling his will when you don't pray, just as much as when you're praying with your full heart outside. And the fact that you're not doing something makes it even more precious than doing something. It's harder to not do something. To not eat that piece of cake is harder than to eat a healthy steak or greens or whatever. To not do something is actually a lot harder. So they got so excited about this idea of serving God by not doing something that they started to dance. And they got all the Russians to dance with them. They're having this whole dance, and then the prison guard says to himself, prison is to break people, not for them to celebrate. What is going on? He went down there and he said, who's responsible for this? And they all pointed to the two Jews. The Jews always get blamed for everything. So they pointed to the two Jews. And he said, what's going on with them? And the Russian said, well, don't ask us any more questions. But they said they have some kind of relationship with God before they were in here, and they have some kind of relationship with God after they're in here. And now this second relationship with God is new and precious. So they're dancing. And he said, is this true? And the Jew said, it's true. Yeah, we had a relationship before, a relationship after. He's like, well, that's it. I'm getting rid of this pail. If that pail is what's making this whole thing happen, making and bringing all that joy and bringing all that dancing, and I'm getting rid of this pail. And he got rid of it. And then the Hasidic Jew said to the other Jew that now it's time to pray. Now you get to pray. So everything worked out because they realized that you're just serving God a different way. We serve God by going out. Now we serve God by being in. There are things we could do when we're out, and there's things we can do while we're in. Just like spending time with family, we can do that more when we're in. So there's always something you can do. You just have to find the good in that situation. The situation is neutral. It's all going to depend on your attitude. Your attitude is going to decide if this is going to be a productive, healthy huddle, or it's going to be something that you are feeling negative about and feeling dejected about. It all depends on your attitude. Quarantine is neutral. The rest is about your attitude. And may this huddle lead to huge wins when we get out of here. And may we get out of here very soon.